Now, U.S. President Joe Biden recently decried the increased gun violence in America, saying that it has turned everyday locations into killing fields. Studies show that gun violence is disproportionately affecting African American communities. Many are living in poor neighborhoods like West Philadelphia, which has experienced an increase in cases of fatal shootings. VOA's Jackson Mvunganyi visited a shooting victim in Philadelphia and has this report.
As the wave of horrific mass shootings dominate daily news in America, the issue of gun rights and the Second Amendment continues to be part of a heated national debate. Statistics show that across the U.S., there has been an uptick in the number of victims of gun violence. The rates are especially high in urban areas, with large cities like Philadelphia setting an all-time record for homicides last year. 2022 is on pace to be the most violent in the city's recorded history. West Philly is what some urban experts would refer to as an inner city. It is also home to a thriving Liberian American community. David Bonney, who we first met in 2015 in Liberia's capital Monrovia on my trip to cover the Ebola pandemic, moved to Philadelphia 5 years ago to continue his college education. He works part-time as an assistant manager at a local Rite Aid. And even though gun violence in his neighborhood has been featured on the local news, he was too busy with work and school to pay close attention to it. That changed in June of this year when David, walking home in the early hours of a summer morning, was confronted by a gunman a few meters from his home.
I was shot 6 times and I got multiple wounds in my leg. Some of the bullets penetrated my leg, and one of the bullets got stuck within my muscles. One of the bullets also fractured my femoral bone, and also my femoral bone right here. And then also, one of the bullets also cut one of my veins in the back of my leg.
David says that he was lucky that none of the bullets hit him above the waist.
He was standing in a pointed direction, in a straight and pointed direction, gun or chest forward. So that's the fascinating part. I really don't understand. How did those bullets get, all the way down there and not up here? But thank God it didn't hit me up on my upper range. But, I'm very grateful. I'm really, really grateful that I'm alive.
Like many African immigrants, David did not think too much on the issue of gun violence. He says that he felt that was more of an American debate.
I really, really don't pay full attention to the stories of why the person got shot or not, because I try my best not to get, because I'm African, right? We Africans, we really try our best to stay, to stay very quiet.
Reports say that in the U.S. this year, each day on average, over 300 people are killed by gunshots in multiple forms of violence, including assaults and murders. David says that one of the lessons from this traumatic experience has been to dispel the stereotype that all young black male victims of gun violence in inner cities are always gang members or somehow connected to illegal drugs.
It's a stereotypical thing that if you are living in a low-income community and you're a young black man, either you're doing drugs or you're part of a gang if you get shot. What I've learned from this was everybody has been placed into one category, irrespective of if you're doing drugs or not, if you're part of a gang or not. So if you get shot in a community like the one I was living in, and I got shot, you have no choice but to bear the pain. Your family will bear the pain, and nothing will come from out of it. Every young black man is not the same. You cannot put everybody in the same category, because some of us are strong young black men. We work very hard. We're intelligent people. We work very hard to build our communities, to make our communities a better place. The police should take the time to investigate. The police should be able to at least be in consultation with the families of the victims.
He hopes that police will continue following up on his case and possibly catch the shooter. For Voice of America, I'm Jackson Mvunganyi.
And joining me now here in studio is Jackson Mvunganyi, host of VOA's Upfront radio program and Red Carpet television show. Jackson, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you so much, Esther, for having me.
You know what's most interesting here is that David had not provoked the shooter.
Absolutely not. David was
but how did you even meet him?
So, okay, going back to where we started, I met David in 2015 in Liberia, in Monrovia. He was a young writer, college student at the time. He had just survived the civil war in Liberia. He had also just survived the Ebola pandemic. And he was taking me around the city, you know, young, lively guy. Fast forward, he moved to the US. He's continuing his education and working part-time as a manager at the Rite Aid, and, you know, a few blocks away from his house. And, you know, working overnight. One morning, he's walking home around 5 a.m. and some guy, jumped out of a street corner and shouted some expletive at him. As David turns back to see who is calling him, this man shot him six times. He's lucky to be alive. He's a survivor, obviously, as a person who has survived all of this. I was telling him, and I don't know very many people who have survived as much as you have, but, you know, he did survive. Luckily, all the bullets hit below his upper body. And, you know, he's recuperating slowly.
So since you spoke to David, do you know if the police have arrested the shooter?
So I would think, you know, I've read many reports. If you've been watching the shootings in Philadelphia, I think they're on par to become one of the most violent years. 2022 is on par to become one of the most violent years they've had in the recent past. And I think police is overwhelmed. David had to even call the police themselves to find out if they have actually started investigating his case, and they haven't. He has not heard back from them. My opinion is that, you know, it's so much is happening right now. Every day there's a shooting in Philadelphia, and so police is a little overwhelmed. They don't have the manpower or the capacity to investigate each case.
And, you know, he says that African immigrants usually they keep quiet, they keep out of trouble.
Right.
Unfortunately, now he's part of the statistics.
Absolutely.
How is his healing so far?
He's healing better. He's not walking with crutches anymore, as you've seen in the package. He was walking with crutches. When I spoke to him recently, he said his rehab is doing very well. He has one bullet that is stuck in his cuff, but overall his health has been recuperating very well.
Well, Jackson, thank you so much. Thank you for going out there to get us this story.
Thank you, Esther.